We will take up case number 19-46493FC, People versus Desi Henderson. Records should reflect the jury is not present at this time. And I want to inform the attorneys that the jurors were told to report back at 9 a.m. this morning. It is now 9:45 approximately. We have one juror who's not appeared. We've made several attempts to contact her at her last known number she gave us. She is not present. It would be Miss Sawatsky. She's in seat number 10. And so the court intends to proceed at this time with the other 13 jurors. That's why we pick alternates in case someone cannot appear. Any comment, Ms. Kozlowski?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Piazza?
No comment, Your Honor.
All right. We will proceed as I've indicated, and if Ms. Sawatsky does matter to appear later on, she will still not be part of the jury. Anything else for the record, Ms. Kozlowski?
Your Honor, when we were in chambers, I did discuss with Mr. Piazza and yourself that our intention was to have a support person accompany the victim into the courtroom. She's not going to be sitting up next to her or by her as required by the statute. She's just going to sit in these chairs behind us. And the victim is 10 years old today. She's under 16, so I do believe it falls under the statute of having a support person present.
All right. Mr. Piazza?
We don't object to that, Your Honor. I believe the statute requires at the time of trial that notification have been given to the opposing counsel regarding the request for a support person and name. We did not receive any notification. We would be objecting to a support person at this time.
And does the statute indicate that the person is they're going to be sitting with the victim has to give, you have to have that advance information, Mr. Piazza?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
If the person is not going to be sitting with the support person, does the statute still require that you be given notice of the name of the support person? If she's going to be sitting with the witness?
Since there is no other personnel in this courtroom because of the COVID situation, it's not open to the public. I believe that even if she's in here, that would be, fall within the statute.
Because why?
If there's nobody else in here. If this is open to the public,
Yeah.
then we can have other individuals here, and doesn't isolate the support person. At this particular time, the only person that's going to be in the gallery is the support person.
And are you saying that the jury will surmise that in fact she's here with the witness or victim because she's sitting in the courtroom?
They could do that, Your Honor, but
They could.
They could, but the statute still requires notification.
Mr. Piazza, you can only stretch taffy so far before it breaks, and I think you just stretched it past that point. I'll overrule your objection. Anything else?
Your Honor, I did discuss with everyone yesterday the minor victims not being broadcast on YouTube. The videographer guys, I did just inform them those would be my first two witnesses, so they understand as well that they won't be on YouTube, just their audio.
All right.
And I believe I placed my objection to that on the record yesterday.
You did, Mr. Piazza. I believe you indicated that your client is entitled to a public trial and also the right to confront his accusers. And I indicated we granted him both. He's got a right to a public trial, which you're hearing. It's also going to be broadcast. He also gets to confront his accuser because he'll be here right with them. So your objection is overruled on that as well. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Piazza?
Just for the record, the prosecution just indicated that they had 3 exhibits to introduce. I will be placing objections on them, but there's a 3rd exhibit that apparently there is a report on the other act's evidence individual I've never seen before.
Okay.
So I would be totally objected to discussing of that of any type because I have not received that before or even seen it before today.
Ms. Kozlowski?
Your Honor, it was my understanding that Mr. Piazza received everything that was attached to the police report. This was included in the irregular police report that this victim was taken to the hospital and did have a SANE exam performed on her, along with the actual victim. The report that this refers to is the sister. And it was my understanding he had everything that we had, Your Honor, but I can't look through his file and confirm that. And if he's going to put an objection on the record, then and he hasn't seen it, I guess I can't really question her about it if that's the case. He's an officer of the court. If he hasn't seen it, he hasn't seen it.
All right.
I have received the CAN counsel report about Lamari Jones. That's the only one I received. That's complaining witness.
Okay, and which exhibit are you referring to in particular?
That'll be Exhibit 3, I believe.
Correct.
All right, so pursuant to his objection in your position, Ms. Kozlowski, Exhibit 3 will not be admitted or gone into. With regard to Exhibit 1 and 2, Mr. Piazza, what's your position on those?
Well, I would be objecting to, one is a curricula vitae. I believe the witness herself could testify about her background, so the curricula vitae itself would be superfluous. I'd be objecting to that. The second exhibit, I believe, is the report regarding the complaining witness, and we have the person here testifying, and I believe the report itself is inadmissible. People versus McDaniel, 469 Mich 409. And I believe People versus Glenn indicate that, the person that asked for a lab report, the lab person is here, they could testify, the lab report itself is inadmissible.
Ms. Kozlowski.
Well, Your Honor, sorry. What we have here is a copy of the medical exam that was performed on the victim that I intended to admit through the same nurse who did do the exam and then dictated this report. It was conducted in the regular course of business, as is every, medical report that we do receive and turn over to the defense. My intention for admitting it was, it goes towards the issue that we have here, whether or not there was penetration, whether or not this occurred with this victim. She did have findings that Mr. Piazza also hired an expert to come and dispute her findings. So if this report isn't admitted, I'm not sure how his expert's going to testify about anything that was in this report either. I do believe it's relevant. I do believe it's admissible under the hearsay exceptions, and she did author it. She signed at the bottom.
Mr. Piazza, is your expert going to refer to the report she's talking about?
May refer to the report, Your Honor. I'm not sure whether or not he's actually going to refer to her or not, but he may be referring to it.
Then I may admit it. I guess at this point in time, I'll reserve my ruling on that report until such time as your expert testifies. I hate to keep asking this. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Piazza?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, let's bring the jury in. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay, but I've come to recognize that some things are outside of my control. So I apologize. Ms. Kozlowski, you may begin with your opening statement.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Much louder than the other microphone, huh? Good morning again, everyone. I appreciate you all for coming back today for the second day of trial. At this time, I'm able to give my opening statement to you because, as I said several times yesterday, this burden is on me. I have to prove this case to you. So I get to give my opening statement first. Defense does have a chance to give their opening statement, or they can reserve it until later. Now, I will start out by saying opening statements are not evidence. Everything I say at this podium is not evidence. The evidence comes from the witness stand or any of the documents or exhibits that are admitted later. The opening statement is just meant for the attorneys to have a chance to give you, all of you jurors, the theory, our theories of what we believe the case will show. Let's talk about some of the evidence I believe you'll hear today. First, you'll hear from Lamarie Jones. She's 10 years old. Back on June 22nd of 2019, she was 8 years old. She lived in the city of Saginaw, county of Saginaw, state of Michigan, at 543 South 14th Street. She lived there with her mom, Mahogany Jakes, her siblings, and the defendant, Desi Henderson. At the time, the defendant was 48 years old. Lamarie called Desi Henderson her stepdad because he was in her life for a long time. Her mom wasn't actually married to him, but she referred to him as dad. You'll also hear today that on June 22nd of 2019, Lamarie got in trouble. She was at the house with her sister and her siblings and Desi Henderson. Their mother, Mahogany Jakes, was at work that day. Lamarie, she wanted to play a game. She got upset. She was acting crazy. And her sister, Deshauna, told on her, said she's acting crazy. She needs to get in trouble. Desi Henderson, who was home with the children at the time, he took her to the basement, said he was going to punish her for acting crazy. But once in the basement, you'll hear Lamarie will testify. She didn't get in trouble. She didn't get punished. She didn't get whooped. Instead, Mr. Henderson did something much worse. He put her on the stairs in the basement, and he put his penis in her vagina. You'll also hear he flipped her over, and he put his penis in her anus as well. She's young. She's only 10 today. She may not use the words that I'm using, but she'll explain body parts. She'll explain to you what happened. She'll explain to you the words that she uses for those body parts. She'll also say that this wasn't the first time. You heard the information as it was read yesterday. This was over several years. She'll also tell you that on other occasions, he put his penis in her mouth. Those counts that I've just read to you make up counts 1, 2, and 3. Criminal sexual conduct in the first degree involving penetration. She'll also testify that he showed her things. He showed her sexually explicit material. That makes up count 4. You and I would know that as pornography. She's not going to use that word. She'll say something else, but she'll describe to you what he showed her. She'll also tell you, as we know this occurred over several years, she didn't say anything right away. She'll explain that. She'll tell you all why she decided not to say anything and why she finally did on June 22nd of 2019. She'll explain why she didn't tell, but on that day, when she finally does, she came up from the basement. Her siblings kept asking, what happened down there? What were you doing down there? Did you get in trouble? You weren't supposed to be playing. Were you playing? And at that time, she decides, we need to call mom. And again, mom's not there. Mr. Henderson is home alone with all the children. So they do. Lamarie, Deshauna, and their brother, they call mom. And they say, Mom, something happened today. We're going to need you to come home. She said, with what? What do you mean? And they said, with Dad and Lamarie. Miss Jakes, the mom, she confronts Mr. Henderson. She says, what happened? What did you do? And you know what Mr. Henderson says? He says, I effed up. I effed up. His words. He says, I didn't put my penis in her vagina, just on her. I effed up. Now, Miss Jakes, after hearing this, as any mom would be, very upset. She comes home, she takes Lamarie and another one of the daughters to the hospital. She calls the police get involved. While the children are at the hospital, they undergo sexual assault exams. They were examined by a sexual assault nurse examiner, Tammy Gillespie. You'll hear from her today. She'll testify about what she saw in those exams. You'll also hear some testimony about some other things that the defendant did for which he is not on trial. Mr. Piazza alluded to that yesterday. You'll receive a jury instruction, though, that you're able to consider those things in making your decision if the defendant committed the offenses he is on trial for today. Now, at the end of this trial, I get another chance to speak to you. I get another chance to give a closing statement at that point. Because again, I have the burden of proving this case. I ask today that you listen closely to the testimony, you take notes, and at the end of the case, I ask that you find the defendant guilty on count 1, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, count 2, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, count 3, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, and count 4, distributing sexually explicit material to minors. Thank you.
Mr. Piazza, do you wish to give opening statement at this time?
I'll give a brief one, Your Honor.
All right.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. What you just heard was the opening statement from the government in this particular case, what they intend to prove. I'm given the privilege and opportunity to make a few remarks at this particular time. At the outset, I'd like just to remind you that as Mr. Henderson sits right there, he is presumed to be innocent. So if you made up your mind and say here, oh, he's got to be guilty of something, please set that aside, because he is presumed to be innocent at this point and throughout the trial. Remember, the burden of proof stays with the government right there at that table. They have to prove the case. They have to prove the case beyond a doubt based on reason. We discussed this during voir dire. The court will give you detailed definitions at the end of the case. But the government has this high burden of proof. It must prove the case beyond a doubt based on reason. Now, the charges itself, are inflammatory. CSC, rape of a minor. Please listen to the facts as they're testified carefully. Be objective when you listen to this. And do listen to the testimony. Listen to what is said by these witnesses, but also listen to what is not said. You're going to hear reason for a motive to fabricate. Mr. Henderson himself is, as in point of fact, a stepfather in sorts, but he's not their natural father. Kids didn't like him disciplining them because he did discipline them. When they were in trouble, he whooped them. I believe testimony may say he used a belt on them once or twice. But this is the motive to get back at Mr. Henderson, because you're not going to find any medical evidence to corroborate the testimony of the complainant in this particular case. She says that he's been having sex with her every day for 4 years, and yet there's no physical evidence. Every day for 4 years, and yet there's no eyewitness or outcry. So please listen to the testimony, listen to what is said, and listen to what is not said. Something's not right here, ladies and gentlemen, and you're going to sense it. I believe it was Ronald Reagan who said in a speech once, trust but verify. You won't be able to verify anything that these kids are saying with any objective evidence. Thus, the government will fail to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And your job is to determine whether or not the government has proven the case or not. And they haven't proven the case, then your verdict must be not guilty. And that's what we're asking you to come back with, a not guilty verdict. Thank you.
Ms. Kozlowski, may call your first witness.
Thank you. At this time, the people would call Lamarie Jones. Your Honor, can I move the podium back?
Yes. You can take your hand down. Okay. Can you, let me hear, what's your name? Okay. Can you move up to that microphone, Lamarie, so we can hear you nice and clear, okay? All right, now say your name again.
Lamarie.
Excellent. Now I need you to talk into the microphone just like that, okay? Now let me ask you this. You know the difference between a truth and a lie?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know your colors?
Yes.
If I tell you this robe is pink, is that the truth or a lie?
A lie.
If I tell you this curtain is white, is that the truth or a lie?
Truth.
And if I tell you your mask is blue, is that the truth or a lie?
Truth.
I'm satisfied to witness those difference between the truth and a lie. You may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Lamarie.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Can you please spell your name for the record
Lamarie.
and your last name?
Jones.
How old are you today?
10.
So you're under 13 years old. And what school do you go to?
Milwaukee.
What grade are you in there?
Well, right now I'm going to be in 5th.
Because it's summer, right? Okay, you're going into 5th?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Lamarie, do you have private parts on your body?
Yes.
Okay, do you have words for those?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you go to the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay. When you go pee, what private part do you use?
The middle.
The middle? Okay, I'll call it a middle part too then, okay?
Yeah.
All right. And when you go number 2 or you go poop, what part do you use?
My bottom.
Bottom? Okay, I'll use those parts, all right? Now, do boys have different private parts?
Yes.
Okay. What would you call a boy's private part if you had to?
I don't know.
Would you just call it a private part?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that too, okay? Now, Lamarie, do you know Desi Henderson?
Yes.
How do you know him?
From our old houses.
You say at your old house?
Yes.
Okay, did he used to live with you?
No.
Did he stay at the house with you?
Yes.
Okay. Did he know your mom?
Yes.
And some of your siblings, is he their dad?
Can you say that again?
Your siblings, is Mr. Henderson their dad?
Yes.
Okay, which ones?
Anetta and Deja.
Okay. How many siblings do you have?
6.
Okay, you're one of 6?
No, I'm the 7th.
There's 7 children? Okay. Do you know how old Desi Henderson is? No. Okay. Older than you though?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he an adult?
Yes.
All right. Now you said he lived with you at one of the houses?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what one?
Townhouse.
Okay. Was that in the city of Saginaw?
Yes.
Okay. County of Saginaw, state of Michigan?
Yes.
All right. Do you remember the address there or no?
No.
Okay. That's all right. So you said he lived with you there. Who all lived with you at that house?
All my siblings and my mom.
Okay. And do you remember the last time you saw him at that house?
No.
Was it a while ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about the house a little bit? Did it have more than one story?
Like, do you mean?
Was there an upstairs?
Yes.
Was there a basement?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a bedroom there?
Yeah.
Did you share a room with anybody?
Yes.
All right. Now, the last time you saw Mr. Henderson, was it at the house you lived with him at?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what was going on that day?
No.
Was your mom at work?
Yes.
Okay. Was Mr. Henderson home with you and your siblings?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what you were doing at the house?
Yes.
What were you doing?
Like, before everything,
Yeah.
like upstairs, what I was doing,
Yep. What were you doing in the house?
sitting in the room playing a game
You were playing a game?
with my siblings.
Okay. Were you supposed to be doing something else?
No.
Okay. You were playing a game?
Yes.
Were your siblings playing with you?
Yes.
All right. Do you remember how old you were the last time you saw him?
The last,
When you were playing the game?
7.
Okay. A couple years ago?
Yeah.
All right. Are you sure you were 7 or is that a guess?
That's a yes.
A guess?
I guess.
Okay. Younger than you are now, though, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you said you were playing the game. Where was Mr. Henderson at?
In the basement.
Okay. Do you get in trouble at some point?
Yes.
All right. What happened when you got in trouble?
I went downstairs. He was on the phone. We came upstairs. Then after he laid down and he put his private part in mine, bottoms,
Okay. Did that happen upstairs or in the basement?
in the basement.
All right. How do you get down to the basement?
My sister took me and then she went upstairs.
Your sister took you to the basement?
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell on you?
Yes.
Okay. So what, was Desi in the basement already?
Yes.
All right. And you went down there with your sister. Does your sister leave?
Yes.
Okay. What does Mr. Henderson say to you? if you remember?
Nothing.
Okay. Did he say you were going to get in trouble?
No. Yeah, he said I was gonna get in trouble when my sister was down there.
Okay. What did you think was going to happen to you?
At first, I thought I was gonna get a whooping.
You said a whooping? Okay. Had Mr. Henderson gave you a whooping before?
Mm, like, mm,
Ever.
when we was down there.
Ever?
Yes.
He had? Okay. So you thought that's what was going to happen again?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened instead?
He did nasty things.
Nasty things? Okay. Was that in the basement?
Yes.
What all is in the basement? Is there a bedroom or a couch?
A bed.
There was a bed?
Just a bed and TV. And
Okay. Did you sit on the bed or did you go somewhere else?
I was on the stairs.
Okay. Did he sit you on the stairs?
No.
All right. How did you get on the stairs?
He told me to lay down on them.
Told you to lay down? Okay. What happened next?
Then he put his private in mine.
Okay. And he put his private in yours? Which private?
His middle
His middle? Okay. And where did his middle touch you at?
and mine.
In your middle? Okay. And did it go inside?
No.
Okay. What did it do?
It just. I don't remember.
Okay. Did it try? Or did he try to put it inside?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it not really go? Okay. Did that hurt you?
Yeah.
Okay. You said he put it in your middle or on your middle. Did he try to put it anywhere else?
Yes.
What else did he do?
My bottoms.
Your bottom? Okay. Did that also hurt?
Yes.
Okay. Did he put that inside your bottom?
Yes.
All right. Was this the first time that had happened to you?
No.
It happened before?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember how old you were the first time it happened?
4.
4?
Yes.
Okay. Are you sure you were 4?
Yes.
All right. And do you remember that first time?
Yes.
Okay. Was that at that same house or somewhere else?
Same. No. The greenhouse.
Different house? Okay. And did he do that same thing? Use his middle part?
Yes.
Okay. And where did he put his middle part that very first time?
And my bottoms.
Okay, in your bottom. Now, you said it hurt, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you cry or make any noise?
No.
Okay. How come?
I don't know.
All right. Now, did you ever see the defendant's middle part?
No.
Okay. Did he ever put it anywhere else on your body?
No.
Okay. Never put it on your mouth?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to object, Your Honor. That's suggestive and leading. She said no. This is
Standing
prosecutor
objection.
suggested an answer.
Rephrase your question.
Lamare, did he ever put it anywhere besides your private parts?
Yes.
Okay. And where was that?
My mouth.
All right. Did he put it in your mouth?
Yes.
Okay. Did that happen more than once?
No.
Okay. So the mouth was just one time?
Yes.
All right. Now, did you ever see his private part do anything?
No.
Okay. Did you ever see anything come out of it?
No.
Okay. Did you ever see him clean anything up?
Yes.
Okay. What did he clean up?
Something white.
He cleaned up something white? Okay. What did he use to clean it up with?
A towel.
All right. Was that in the basement again?
Yes.
Okay. When you said put it in your mouth, do you remember tasting anything? No? Do you remember smelling anything?
No.
Okay. You said you saw him clean up. Did you ever have to clean up?
No.
Okay. Did you ever wash yourself in the shower or the bath?
Yes.
Okay. Was that after one of these times?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you do in the bath?
I got in. I used a towel and I wiped
Okay. What were you wiping?
everything.
Okay. Was there anything on you you had to wipe off? No? Okay. Did you ever see any blood?
No.
Okay. But you said it hurt?
Yes.
All right. Now, did he ever show you anything that made you uncomfortable?
Yes.
Okay. What did he show you?
A video.
A video? Was that on his phone or on a computer or something else?
On my brother's tablet.
On a tablet? Okay. What do you remember seeing?
A girl. It was a girl and a boy, and they were touching each other.
They were touching each other? Okay. Did they have clothes on?
No.
Okay. They were naked?
Yes.
All right. Did these look like adults or children?
Adults.
Okay. And where were they touching each other at?
Their swimsuit area. The swimsuit area.
Do you say sensitive area?
Swimsuit area.
Swimsuit area. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. So would that be their private parts?
Yes.
Okay. Were they using their hands to touch each other or something else?
Hands.
Okay. And you said it was a video?
Yes.
Was that the first time you had seen something like that?
Yes.
And Mr. Henderson showed it to you?
Yes.
Okay. How did that happen? Did he say, come here, look at this?
No, I was doing some work,
Mm-hmm.
and then he grabbed the thing and started typing something in, and then he said, "Look at it."
He said he typed something in and said what?
A tablet.
Okay. He typed something in and what did he say to you?
Look, watch this.
Okay. He told you to watch it? All right. And you did?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on this last time, when you're in the basement, when you were playing the game and you got in trouble, did you call your mom?
Yes.
Okay. You come up from the basement at some point?
Yes.
Are your siblings there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys talk and decide it's time to call your mom?
No.
Okay. Who called your mom?
Me.
You did? What did you tell your mom?
That I said that he was doing horrible things.
You said he was doing horrible things? Okay. Was Mr. Henderson there when you called your mom?
No.
He didn't know right away, right?
No.
Does he find out eventually?
Yes.
Okay. How does he find out?
Because my mom talked to him.
Your mom talked to him? Okay. Was Mr. Henderson standing there?
In front of me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Did you hear him say anything to your mom?
No.
Okay. Did he say anything to you?
Yes.
What did he say to you?
Why did you tell?
He said, why did you tell? Okay. What did you say?
Nothing.
Okay. And you decided to tell this day, right? Okay. How come you decided to tell on that day?
Because my sister and brothers they were faking like they noticed it. And I wanted them to notice it because I wanted to tell.
Okay. You wanted them to notice it? Okay. When you came up from the basement, were you upset?
Yes.
Were you crying or anything?
No.
Okay. But you were upset?
Yes.
And they were there? They saw you come upstairs?
Yes.
All right. And you didn't tell anybody before this day, right? Why didn't you tell anybody else?
Because I only didn't tell my brother because I didn't want him to know.
Okay. You didn't want anybody to know?
I didn't want the boys to know.
You didn't want the boys to know. Okay. But you said this had happened before, right? And how come you didn't tell then?
Because I was little.
You were little? Okay. Were you scared?
Yes.
What were you scared of?
Something gonna happen.
Okay. Did Desi ever tell you not to tell?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what he said?
He said, the first time he said, come here. He said, you can't tell anyone. That was when I was 4.
Okay. That was the first time?
Yes.
All right. Now, when you and your siblings call your mom, does she come home at some point?
Yes.
Okay. Was she at work?
Yes.
All right. Do you remember if the police came to the house?
No.
You don't remember or they didn't?
No.
Okay.
They didn't.
Do you go to the hospital?
Yes.
All right. Did you have an exam done there?
Yes.
Okay. Did you also go to be interviewed somewhere?
Yes.
You remember being in a room and being interviewed by a lady?
Yes.
Okay. And you told her what happened? All right. Now, the person you say did these things, what's his name?
Desi Henderson.
Okay. If you look around the courtroom, all around, do you see him in here?
Yes.
Okay. Can you point to him and tell us what he's wearing?
Burgundy.
Burgundy? Thank you. Your Honor, would the record reflect identification?
The record shall reflect.
Thank you. You may have a moment, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Just a few more questions from me, okay? So you said you think the first time it happened you were 4?
Yes.
Okay. The next time after that, do you know how old you were?
No.
Okay. But you said it happened more than once?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say once a month, once a week?
I think once a week.
You think maybe once a week? Okay. And if you were to do that, it was the same thing? He used his private part on you? Okay. And he put his private part in your butt or on your butt or in your vagina or on your vagina? Okay. You said it hurt, right? Okay. Did you ever have any injuries that you noticed? No? Okay. Thank you. Mr. Piazza will have some questions, okay?
Questions, Mr. Piazza?
Thank you, Honor. Good morning, Ms. Jones.
Mm,
My name is Mr. Piazza. I'm going to be asking some questions, okay?
okay.
And if you don't understand the question, or if you don't understand a word, just let me know, and I'll say it a different way. Is that okay?
Yes.
And can you do me a little favor, please, because I'm kind of hard of hearing. If you could talk right into that microphone and speak up, I'd really appreciate it. Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Now, you indicated that you were living in a house with your siblings and your mother and Mr. Henderson. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you got, what, 6 brothers and sisters? Is that correct?
Yes.
How old are they?
Let me say, how old is every single one of them?
How old are they today?
One is 4. One is 2. One is 7. One is 10. One is 12. One is 14. No, 15. And one is 17.
Okay. So you have some older brothers and sisters, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Henderson, he's not your father, is he?
No.
Okay. And in fact, most of those brothers and sisters you have, they were not his children, is that correct?
Yes.
Just, I believe, the 2 younger ones
Yes.
and all the older, so the 5 of you were like stepchildren?
Yes.
Okay. And he treated you like a stepfather, is that correct?
Yes.
Your mother would be working a lot,
Yes.
so she'd be gone.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you got in trouble, it would be Mr. Henderson who would discipline you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes he'd whoop you, sometimes he'd yell at you. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Okay. And he'd do that to the other children as well. Is that correct? When they got in trouble?
No.
No. Just you're the only one that got in trouble?
Yes.
Okay. So it'd be Mr. Henderson who would be the disciplinarian. He'd be the one to hand out punishment in the house. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. Now, when Mr. Henderson was living with you, you shared a bedroom with another sister. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was her name?
Anetta.
And how old is she?
7.
She's 7 now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you shared a bedroom with her, but the other brothers and sisters still lived in the house throughout this entire time. Is that fair?
Yes.
And at various times between yourself and your brothers and sisters, you didn't see your real father often, did you?
No.
Okay. And at various times, you indicated to your brothers and sisters that you guys wanted to see your father home instead of Mr. Henderson. Would that be fair?
Yes.
All right. You missed your father, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't really care for Mr. Henderson, did you?
No.
All right. And some of your brothers and sisters said the same thing. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And both your brothers and sisters and yourself wanted to see your mom get back with your dad. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And you would hope that if Mr. Henderson left the house, that your mom and dad would get back together. Was that a hope of yours?
Yes.
Okay. And you got Mr. Henderson out of the house, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, you said some of the bedrooms were upstairs, is that correct?
Yes.
And the first floor would have a living room and kitchen area, is that fair?
Yes.
And in the basement, you said was there a TV in the basement?
Yes.
A couch, maybe?
No, just a bed.
A
and
bed?
TV.
Okay. Now, you indicated, I believe, let me ask you this. You talked with the police officer about this? Is that correct?
Yes.
You talked with somebody from, a young lady from what we refer to as the CAN Council. You talked with her.
Yes.
You talked with people at the hospital.
Yes.
And you talked with various people after this June 22nd date. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this movie you said you saw on the tablet, you said you saw men and women or just women?
No, women and a man.
I'm sorry?
A woman and a man.
Okay. Did you previously tell either the officers or courts that you saw just nothing but women on the video?
That was the next video.
Okay.
That was the next video.
You said they were in the swimsuit area. Were they wearing swimsuits, if you remember?
No,
You don't remember, or they were not wearing swimsuits?
they weren't.
Okay. Where were your brothers and sisters at this time?
I only had 2 of my sisters, and the rest were with my mom buying clothes.
Okay, so you had 2 sisters at the house, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you tell your mother as soon as she came back home from buying clothes that, Mr. Henderson showed you these things?
No.
Okay. When did he show you these things? You remember the day?
No.
You remember the month?
No.
Do you remember the year?
No.
Okay. But nevertheless, you did not tell your mother what he showed you when she came home, did you?
No.
But you love your mother, right?
Yes.
And you confide in her and ask her questions and talk to her, don't you?
Yes.
And so you say the first time you were, I believe, was it 4? Is it the first time that, according to what you're telling this jury, Mr. Henderson touched you inappropriately? You did not tell your mother, did you?
No.
You're going into the 5th grade?
Yes.
And by going into the 5th grade, I'm sure you've had, at school, you're learning what a good touch is and a bad touch, didn't you?
Yes.
And when they taught you what a good touch and a bad touch was, they also told you to tell somebody if somebody touched you in a bad spot. Is that correct?
Yes.
And these were teachers that told you this. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you've indicated that this was happening at least every week since you were 4 years old until Mr. Henderson left the house when you were 8 or 9. Is that correct?
Yes.
So this was happening every week for 4 or 5 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
And during this period of time, when you learned about good touch, bad touch, you were told that if somebody touched you in a bad spot, that you were reported, right?
Yes.
Did you tell your teachers as soon as you learned about good touch and bad touch? Did you tell your teachers what Mr. Henderson was doing to you?
No.
And you were learning this, what, in the 1st grade, I believe, if you remember?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't tell anybody when you were in the 1st grade, whether age 6, about any of this to any of the teachers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does your school have counselors? If you know.
No.
Okay,
But I went to one.
okay. Now, let's go to the 2nd grade. You say this was continuing while you were in the 2nd grade. Is that correct? What Mr. Henderson was supposed to be doing to you?
Yes.
Okay, did you tell any of those teachers what Mr. Henderson was doing to you?
No.
When you were in the 3rd grade, did you tell any of these teachers what was going on?
No.
Or when you were in the 4th grade, did you
No.
tell any of the teachers? No?
No.
Okay. You said you have a good relationship with your mother. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you never told her when this happened originally, did you?
No.
Okay. And you didn't tell her when you were 5 years old of any of this going on, did you? When you were 6 years old, the entire year you were 6 years old, you didn't mention one word to your mother about this, did you?
No.
And this is a person who you could confide in and go to with your problems, isn't it? It's your mother.
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't say a word, not for 3, 4 years total?
No.
Do you remember, if you do, the first time you said you were 4, what day of the week it was when this first happened?
Yes.
Okay, what day of the week was it? If you remember.
I don't know.
Okay. Do you remember what month it was the first time this supposedly happened?
No.
Do you remember what year?
No.
Okay. Now you're saying that this occurred on a weekly basis for 3 or 4 years. Did you ever yell out during any of this time when your siblings were home?
No.
Okay. And when Mr. Henderson was supposed to be doing this, your brothers and sisters were actually home, weren't they?
Yes.
Okay. And you never yelled out asking for help during this entire 4-year period, did you?
No.
During this entire 4-year period where this was going on a weekly basis, none of them came down and saw you involved with Mr. Henderson, did they?
No.
during this 4-year period of time, did you had some older brothers and sisters. One's 17 now, so, they were older. Is that correct?
Yes.
You never told them, asked them for help, told them what Mr. Henderson was doing to you, did you?
No.
In fact, occasionally you get in trouble with your brothers and sisters. Is that correct?
Yes.
In fact, on the day that your mother called the police, you were in trouble with your brothers and sisters because about some game. Is that correct?
No.
Well, you got in trouble with them, didn't you?
No.
Well, didn't you say on direct examination that you were afraid of getting a whooping because you were in trouble?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And it was your brothers and sisters that complained that you were getting in trouble, and they complained to Mr. Henderson. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, it was your sister that told Mr. Henderson that you needed a whooping because you were acting up. Is that correct?
Yes.
In fact, your sister took you down to the basement where Mr. Henderson was to get a whooping. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't want to get a whooping, did you?
No.
Okay. And in fact, after you made this accusation on that day when you called your mother and your mother called the police, everybody seems to forget that you were the one that was in trouble. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And nobody gave you a whooping or yelling at after you made this accusation against Mr. Henderson. Is that correct?
Yes.
In fact, they forgot about the fact that you were the one in trouble. Is that fair?
Yes.
Now, I know some of this might be, I'm going to ask some questions, might be a little difficult. If you don't know an answer, just say you don't know. But if you do remember, you can answer the questions. At various times, you did give statements to police officers and doctors. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at one point in time, you were in front of a judge some time ago. It's probably over a year ago when we asked questions like this before. Is that correct? At a hearing. Is that correct?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
Now, today, you're saying that this movie that you saw had boys and girls in one, and the other one had just girls. Is that correct?
Yes.
And directing the prosecutor to preliminary examination, page 13, it said, in line 18, you were asked, how many times did he, Mr. Henderson, show you that kind of thing? And your answer was just one time. Back then you say one time, and now you're saying multiple times. Is that what you're saying today?
Yes.
But back there, you were asked to tell the truth, correct? And you said only one time. Now you're adding to that. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And let's go back to that same hearing a year ago, because you were asked by police officers, you were asked by people at the Can Council and doctors about what you claim Mr. Henderson did to you. Remember all those questions?
Not all.
Well, you remember talking about it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were asked what happened on various occasions, and you told them the story. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, directing yourself back to that hearing a year ago, page 24, Counselor, you were asked about, because you mentioned that Mr. Henderson's penis was in your mouth at one time, correct?
Yeah.
And you were asked at that time, question, Do you recall saying that about Mr. Henderson putting his private in your mouth? Do you recall saying that to the CAN council? Did you ever mention that to them before today? That's the date of the hearing. Your answer was no. Next question was, so this is the first time that you mentioned that. Is that correct? And your answer was yes. Do you remember saying that before?
Yes.
Okay. So prior to the hearing in March of 2020, after talking with police, after talking with doctors, and after talking with CAN council individuals, you added the fact about Mr. Henderson's privates in your mouth. After all that, that's the first time you mentioned it sometime after talking to everybody else. Is that fair?
Yes.
In fact, the first time you mentioned that was about 10 months after the police were called originally. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you added more to your story close to a year afterwards. Is that fair?
Yes.
And today you're adding more to your story about adding multiple movies with naked people in it, more so than you said a year ago. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it seems like you keep adding more things. That be fair?
Yes.
All right. Now, if this occurred, as you're saying, on a weekly basis for several years, you never screamed out at all to your brothers or sisters?
No.
Never asked for help on any occasion?
No.
In fact, when Mr. Henderson was living with you, you even mentioned the fact to the police and other people, that you didn't really like him living there, did you? That's correct?
Yes.
Now, you're saying today that this was occurring on a weekly basis. Back a year ago, you were saying that this occurred on a daily basis. Do you remember telling that the hearing, the judge at that time, this occurred on a daily basis?
No.
Okay, page 27, Counselor. Question. You were taken to the hospital and examined. Is that correct? Answer, yes. Question. In fact, you told the police that this was happening almost on a daily basis. Is that correct? And your answer was yes. You remember saying that at that time?
Yes.
Okay. Now your story is different. Now it's a weekly basis. Is that correct?
Yes.
And before the hearing in March of 2020, you just said it happened a couple of times before you said it happened on a daily basis. Is that correct?
Yes.
So first it happened a couple of times, then about a year later, you're saying it happened on a daily basis, and now you're saying today it happened on a weekly basis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Seems like you keep changing the amount of times it happens. Would that be fair?
Yes.
All right. You went to the hospital for an examination, is that correct?
Yes.
See if they could collect any type of evidence, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you indicated that you thought you liked going to the hospital, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. You thought it'd be fun going to the hospital?
Yes.
Okay. And so you end up going to the hospital because of this accusation you made, is that correct? But you told your mother that this supposedly happened, and then they eventually took you to the hospital, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you liked going to the hospital. In fact, you said that to various members of the CAN council or the police, is that correct?
Yes.
and that you had fun going to the hospital, correct? And you ended up going to the hospital when you made this statement, correct? Okay. Now, you indicated you told your mother what happened, but you're also asked prior, did you ever lie to your mother? And you've admitted that you have lied to your mother on various occasions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you indicated none of your brothers or sisters saw anything occurring between yourself and Mr. Henderson. Is that fair?
Yes.
But you yourself got caught running around the house with your pants down by your brothers and sisters. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you got in trouble for that, didn't you?
Yes.
All right. And in fact, when you got caught with your pants down by your brothers and sisters, you get in trouble for, Mr. Henderson wasn't even around at that time, was he?
No.
Today, you're saying that on that June, the date, 2019, June 22nd, that Mr. Henderson put his private parts or attempted to put his private parts in you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. You remember talking to somebody from the Child Protective Services, another person that you talked with?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, you told them that all he did was touch your bottom. Remember that?
No.
Okay. You may or may not have said that. You just don't remember. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. But even talking with Child Protective Services, you're saying that this was happening every morning. Remember telling Child Protective Services that?
Yes.
Okay. But today you're telling the jury just on a weekly basis, correct? And originally they said it only happened a couple times, correct?
Yes.
So the further we go along, the more we're adding to the story. Is that fair?
Yes.
Now, remember going to the hospital, and doctors asked you what happened, and you said at that time that Mr. Henderson tried to put his privates in yours, but was unable to do so. Is that fair?
Yes.
You did not tell the doctors that when you were at the hospital of any of these other accusations at all, did you?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So these other stories that you're talking about came up later as you're continuing telling the story. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, at various times, you would take a shower or a bath. Would that be fair?
Yes.
And at a couple times, you mentioned on direct examination that you cleaned yourself in your private areas. Sometimes you would scrub really hard and it reddened the area. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that's happened a few times when you clean yourself, taking a shower or a bath, yeah, your private parts would turn somewhat red. It'd be sort of touch, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And that's after, because you aggressively or roughly cleaned yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you did that yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, your mother was not didn't discipline you or punish you, did she?
No.
Okay, so it was only Mr. Henderson that did, is that correct?
Yes.
You didn't like him doing that, did you? Okay. In fact, point of fact, hated him because he was the one that had to discipline you, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. The first time, yeah, I know we're going back a little bit, time that you says this occurred, you didn't remember when or what month. Do you at least remember what room it was in? If you remember?
No.
No? Okay. But you remember though that your brothers and sisters were home at the time?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't yell out, run to them and saying, guess what just happened, did you?
No.
Okay. Did you ever have a rash on your behind growing up? Remember having a rash there at one point in time?
No.
Okay. And at no point in time was there any type of clothing that you had on that was torn or anything like that?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
Mr. Henderson, he would be at times mean to you.
Yes.
Okay. He'd be mean to some of your siblings.
Yes.
Okay. Your brothers and sisters didn't like him because he was mean to them. Would that be fair?
Yes.
All right. Did you see Mr. Henderson drinking at all, if you remember?
No.
Okay. Now, originally, when you told your mother the first time, you told her something similar to Mr. Henderson rubbed his privates on my privates, something like that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you first told your mother, you did not mention anything about any type of penetration, correct?
I don't know what that means.
Pardon?
I don't know what meditation means.
Okay, I'm sorry. You did not say that Mr. Henderson's privates went inside your privates the first time you told your mother. Is that correct?
Yes.
The first thing you said was his privates touched your privates, correct?
Yes.
sometime later that you added to the story of his privates going inside your private. Is that correct?
Yes.
Sometime after that, that about a year after that, that you told the authorities that Mr. Henderson, you added to the story that he stuck his privates inside your mouth. You added that later on. Is that correct?
Yes.
You might have a moment here. Thank you, Ms. Jones. I have no further questions at that time. Prosecutor may have some follow-up questions.
Redirect Ms. Kozlowski.
Hello, Amarie.
Hi.
Just a few more, okay?
Yes.
Are you doing all right?
Yes.
All right. Do you need to take a break?
No.
Okay. Now, you were asked a lot of questions by Mr. Piazza here. I'm going to follow up on some of them, okay? All right. Now, is it hard for you to remember every bad thing Mr. Henderson did to you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And as the time goes on and this case goes on, is it hard to remember some things?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that you didn't like him because he disciplined you?
Yes.
All right. Was he ever nice to you?
Yes.
Okay. Did he ever play games with you or take you places?
He played games with me.
Okay. So he wasn't always mean. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Now, when you told your mom that day, did you know you were going to go to the hospital?
No.
Okay. When you told your mom that day, did you know that Desi would leave the house?
No.
Okay. Did you really know what was going to happen when you told her?
Yeah, I knew something
You knew something was? Okay. What did you think was going to happen?
that he's gonna go to jail, and I thought that I was gonna get in trouble and go to jail with him.
You thought you were going to get in trouble too? Okay. So you knew something was going to happen, but you weren't sure?
No.
All right. And now you said he disciplined you, but sometimes he was nice, right?
Yes.
Okay. Were you afraid of him?
Yes.
Okay. And you were asked a question about lying to your mom. Okay. What did you lie to your mom about?
When we were going somewhere, and my real brother said that he saw something, and I said he didn't.
Okay. About seeing something? You lied about that? Okay. You were interviewed at the Can Council by a lady in a room. Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay. Were you ever interviewed by a police officer in a uniform?
No.
Okay. Mr. Piazza asked a lot of questions about being interviewed by police officers, but you never were?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Now, you said, I think, this usually happened in the basement?
Yes.
Okay. Did it happen anywhere else in the house?
In his room.
In what?
His room.
His room? Okay. What do you remember about his room?
That it had a bed, a TV, a closet.
Okay. And what happened in the room?
He did the same thing.
The same thing? Okay. Now, you were also asked some questions about washing or scrubbing yourself. Okay. He asked if you had any redness. Did you look or did you know if you had redness?
No,
Okay, you didn't know that, did you?
no,
Okay. And when you told your mom that day, did you take a shower? Did you take a bath?
no.
Okay. Did you wait to see if they could collect evidence?
Yes, I
Okay.
was going to, but
You were going to, but you didn't, right?
yeah,
Okay. So you didn't take a shower and scrub anything that day or take a bath, right? Okay. You waited. And the things you're testifying about today regarding Mr. Henderson, is that what actually happened?
yes.
Okay. Thank you, Lamaria.
Anything else, Mr. Piazza?
No, Your Honor.
Maria, you may step down. Thank you, okay? You may call your next witness, Ms. Kozlowski.
At this time, the people would call Deshauna Sharp.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break at this time. If you go with my clerk, please.